I have to say, ladies, this is an amazing sight, and I have to congratulate all of you for getting yourselves up this morning. I don't know how you did it, getting here, getting through the traffic. There's still people coming in. What an amazing day, and what an honor for me to be here to just talk with you today on the 10th anniversary of this amazing conference. You know, usually the morning speaker is supposed to get you revved up. I'm going to try to get you revved up in a different way today, because one of the things that I like to do whenever I give a talk is not give a package talk, but understand what's going on in our world. Understanding what's going on in our world and sharing my thoughts about it. I don't know how many of you are aware that in the past few days, Boston has been recognized by the Rockefeller Foundation and will be the recipient of a Resilient City Award. How many people are aware of that? I bet not many yet. But I want to raise this for a very important issue. I've served on the Rockefeller Foundation board since 2006, and for the 100th anniversary a few years ago, we wanted to do something that was very different, that wasn't about just celebrating the 100th anniversary of the foundation, but doing something for the community, doing something for the global community. And so it set up a whole program called 100 Resilient Cities. And initially when people think about resilience, they think about climate change or impacts from weather or earthquakes or floods. But let me tell you what we've learned from many of the cities that are engaged in this, and I say this because we need your engagement. As a business person, one of the most important skills that one needs is resilience, and I don't think it gets enough attention. And let me tell you about what your mayor, I haven't met him yet, our mayor, wrote in his commentary. He said, for Boston, 40 years after court-ordered busing, we're still talking about income inequality, we're still talking about achievement gaps, and we're still talking about ways that we can make Boston a more inclusive and equitable city. And that resilience for him meant how we react to the social challenges of the 21st century. I have to applaud that, and I hope you do too. And I want you to know, Boston was selected out of 330 cities around the world, of which only 5 American cities were chosen, 5. That says a lot. And I say that because, women, I want you to be proud of being part of Boston, of being part of the state of Massachusetts. I moved here back in 2007 after living in Connecticut and working in New York for many, many years. And I can't say enough about how I've grown to love this state, how I've grown to love this city. But let me tell you, most of all what I love, instead of taking 2 hours to get to the darn airport from Westport, Connecticut, I'm there in 20 minutes. Thank you, Tip O'Neill. Woo! So I hope some of you just really kind of understand that this is a great place. I talk about resilience because today I want you to think about what role you can play in a resilient city. And hopefully you're going to hear a lot more about it in the weeks and months to come. I use a term that I've borrowed from the military that I think we all need to think about as a way to frame the world we're living in. It's 4 letters, V-U-C-A, VUCA. V for volatile, U for uncertain, C for complex, and A for ambiguous. And if you think about it within the context of everything that's going on socially, from a climate standpoint, in fact, today in Lima, Peru, they're launching the next level of climate change talks, building off of Kyoto, which focused just on developed countries, and now including developing countries as well. The one thing that I've learned serving on global boards that are based outside of the US, like Novartis and like Unilever and like Infosys in India, we as Americans in particular have to expand our horizon. We have to understand that we work within a very connected world. And that's why resilience is important. Because every action, whether it takes place in our country, and let me tell you, the eyes of the world are looking at everything that's happening in this country. And I don't want to go down a path other than to say there's a whole different conversation around the social issues that we're facing in this country when you're watching it on Swiss TV, or when you're watching it on French television, or when you're watching it being discussed in India. The world watches us. And I have to say, I watched the news last night, and I was so proud of the young people in New York City who peacefully walked, who peacefully reflected what the strength of democracy is, that we have a right. Honestly, it's beyond a right. It's a duty to speak out when we see injustice. And let me say this. As women, sometimes we don't get out there and get out front, but we have to. And I will say that because this week, we remember Rosa Parks. And people remember what she did. And I remember having the opportunity to go to Detroit. And actually, if you go to the Ford Museum, the bus that she sat in is in the Ford Museum. And I would suggest to you, if you're ever there, just go. Just go and look and go step inside that bus. And I have to tell you, as a woman who's been in corporate America her whole life and now serving on many corporate boards, to say that I haven't had my share of issues would be a big falsehood. I have had my share. I have had my struggles. No one advances without hitting speed bumps. And sometimes they're bigger than speed bumps. They're big hurdles. But something gives you the strength to move forward. And I have to say that many times, and I share this because it means a lot, and I want you to dig inside. Nothing about corporate America says that you have to give up what you feel. And there are times that I stayed in my job because I remember my grandfather going up to the bus stop in Washington, D.C. on Rhode Island Avenue at night to meet my grandmother when she came back from her work at the Bureau of Engraving. And I tell you, that's inspiring. And all of you have people in your life like that who are inspiring, who are resilient, who know how to deal with complexity, who don't just lead from a place where we think we have to leave our personhood at the door. And if there's one thing that I would ask you to do, ladies and gents, bring your personhood to work. We need it. We need it. And when you do it, other people in your organization will feel free to do the same. I'm looking at the clock. I didn't write anything, but because I know you're going to go into breakout groups on subjects like leadership, I want to close with something that a friend shared with me. Oh my goodness, it had to be in the late 70s, early 80s, and I still to this day don't know where she got it from, so I just have to say I didn't write it. I wish I could say I did, but I didn't. But it is about leadership, and I think it sums it up incredibly well. Leadership is an invisible strand, as mysterious as it is powerful. It pulls and it bonds. It is a catalyst that creates unity out of disorder, yet it defies definition. No combination of talents can guarantee it. No process or training can create it where the spark does not exist. The qualities of leadership are universal, and this is the part I love. They are found in the poor and the rich, the humble and the proud, the common man and the brilliant thinker. They are qualities that suggest paradox rather than pattern, but wherever they are found, leadership makes things happen. The most precious and intangible quality of leadership is trust. The confidence that the one who leads will act in the best interest of those who follow. The assurance that she will serve the group without sacrificing the rights of the individual. Leadership's imperative is a sense of rightness, knowing when to advance and when to encourage others to excel. From the leader's reserves of energy and optimism, her followers draw strength. In her determination and self-confidence, they find inspiration. In its highest sense, leadership is integrity. This command by conscience asserts itself more by commitment and example than by directive. Integrity recognizes external obligations, but it heeds the quiet voice within rather than the clamor without. Thank you, ladies, and have a wonderful, wonderful day.